This video is for you if you're wondering about what that first 30 days on a carnivore, heavily meat-based diet is going to look like. We're going to give you some illumination.
Yes, we're going to give you a glimpse of your own future.
Your own future.
Because you are just 30 to 90 days away from a completely different life. One full of health, vitality, reduced pain, more optimism, greater confidence, and overall better quality.
I'm JJ. I'm a life coach, and I eat mostly meat for about 2.5 years now.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist, and I eat mostly meat, and I've been doing it for about the same amount of time.
Let's start with day one.
Yes, day one, you have decided to go carnivore. The first thing you're going to do is not eat a steak.
No?
No.
Butter.
Not eat anything.
Eggs?
It is you are going to take a photograph of yourself, and you're going to take your measurements. You don't have to look at the photograph. You don't have to really study the measurements. You're going to want them.
And you'll want sort of the full body photograph, but also take one of your face.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you will notice differences. I didn't do this, and here's why. I didn't think this was going to work, right? I really didn't. I'd done little things, dipped my toe into things in the past, and nothing really worked. I didn't know if this was going to sustain. I didn't even tell you I was doing it.
Right. And now we're stuck with before and after pictures that look like this and this. And they're not that impressive.
No. So let us be the cautionary tale. Take those pictures. Take those measurements.
So you're going to be embarking on this. You're going to be confronting your very first carnivore meal, which is going to be what, JJ?
It is going to be beef, butter, bacon, eggs. What type of beef? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. How much butter? Doesn't matter. You can just fry your eggs in some butter.
Does it need to be grass-fed butter?
It doesn't need to be grass-fed.
I always wondered how they feed the butter.
Really keep it simple. Just focus on those things. It does not have to be a ribeye. I know ribeye is always mentioned as the gold standard. Does not matter. Just limit yourself to primarily those things.
And there's not going to be a side of potatoes or a side salad or rice or a side of veggies or bread. And that may feel weird.
Yes.
Because it's like, this is part of the plate I should be having, your brain is going to say. And then you're going to sit down and you're going to eat it. And there's going to be a little bit of a sense of incompleteness.
Yes.
Because you're just not used to only eating meat and fat.
Yeah.
But you can do it.
Yes, you can.
If you are a carb addict the way that I was, not a moderator here, she was able to do it. You're going to still have some cravings in that first week. Maybe the first day, the first 2 days, have that nom kind of instinct. And that's totally normal. But you've committed to 30, so it's not really that hard to get past it. And really the technique is if you really feel like, and there's some hunger associated with it, have a fat snack, like just a pat of butter. Or eat a piece of bacon.
Yes.
Even though it's not what the mouth is wanting, give it something, and then that whole thing will settle down.
I did not have the sweet craving as much as I had the habit of walking by the cashew container and grabbing cashews. And those cashews were still there. It's a little habitual that week one, it's going to hit you, and it's fine. Just have those strategies like having the bacon on hand.
The next morning you may wake up and you're going to be hungry and you're going to be faced again with, I've got to eat the carnivore way. So all of those usual breakfast items, maybe there's toast or bagel or something like that, are obviously off the menu. And this is where it becomes really important to not undereat because your taste buds want something that you're not giving it. You want to really focus on those fatty meats, bacon, butter, so that when you're done eating, you don't want another bite.
That's what comfortably stuffed means, right? You just don't have the taste for another bite.
So how is your body going to be feeling? We've talked about the cravings. Where's your energy level going to be? Well, that's variable, but in general, you might feel a little bit on the sluggish side, and you might even feel a little icky. And what would be the cause of that?
Well, dare I say the KF word?
Well, you can say it even though we don't think it's the right frame.
No. So the KF word is keto flu, but we definitely don't think that's the right frame. This first week, especially, and the first 30 days, is your initial healing period or healing phase. And that's what I want you to think of it. So you're healing those cravings, you're healing those habits, and your body is actually healing. So as you shift from being a person who burns primarily carbs or glucose for your energy, your body has to change its chemistry up a little bit to shift into burning fat for fuel. And this can be a little taxing on the body at first.
And when you stop eating those carbs, your body naturally releases a lot of water because you don't need to retain as much water. And with that water goes sodium. And so as sodium drops below a certain threshold, you'll start to feel lethargic or maybe even a little nauseated. You might have headache, a little brain fog. And so that's one of the early signs that you need to do one of two things. You need to eat a little bit of something with fat in it and add some salt, possibly along with some other electrolytes like magnesium and potassium.
I really want to stress this is good news. This is healing. This is not a reason to run and grab the carbs to make yourself feel better. This is manageable. Most people can get on with their day-to-day life even during this period. No problem. But have those things on hand, do those strategies, and just know that it could happen and that it's short term.
Many people are going to undertake doing carnivore because they want to lose fat. And so the question is will the scale move during week 1? For me, it did. For you?
It did not. I did not see any significant weight loss for quite a while.
We have an entire video on that, and we can go and you can view it. There's levers that we pulled that are very specific.
But a lot of people say, oh, that's just water weight, right? Was that what it was for you?
Yeah, I'm sure that initial weight loss, of course, I would lose 2-3 pounds in the first day, starting something like carnivore from eating the SAD diet. But my weight loss would continue fairly steadily day after day after day. Maybe it was a pound, a half pound, sometimes 2, sometimes it would be a little more even. And a lot of that is inflammatory water weight. The salt is coming out. I'm using up the carbs. And so the water that's necessary to go with the carbs is being used up or flushed out. So that's all positive though, because one of the really quick effects for me is that when I shed all of that excess water weight, my blood pressure went down and normalized. So it's a good thing. You want that to happen. And it does count. You can even see the difference in your face.
Yes. Now, I didn't have that weight loss, but I did within the first week notice a major change that was inflammation related. And for me, it was allergies. My eyes were burning out of my head for about 5 years prior to starting carnivore. And within the first week of doing it, my scratchy, burning eyes were 90% better. And I could tell that that was a sign. Again, this is an initial healing phase. And that was a sign for me that I held on to, even if the scale wasn't moving, that my body was healing and doing what it needed to do on carnivore.
I had a very quick early win, besides from water weight loss, was my acid reflux vanished. It was something that plagued me every single night while I slept. I would wake up with a hot throat, and it was just so fast. And that is a huge quality of life benefit because now I'm not having to pop a Tums in the middle of the night. We could get into an explanation of maybe why that was the case. I still don't totally understand why carby foods cause reflux, but fatty foods didn't. But that was the case.
I want to bring up one more thing on week 1. And this sort of is a mental aspect of feeling weird about actually eating the fat.
Yeah. For so many years, anytime I had a steak, I cut the fat off and left it to throw it away because I was so indoctrinated with the idea that saturated fat is bad for my heart, bad for my health. But on carnivore, you have to eat that fat because your body is going to be using that for energy. Of course, it can also be really delicious, a little salt on it. And that just required me to go, okay, I'm going to actually eat this. Now, I'm sure that for some, you might even be a little grossed out by it because you're so in the view that it's bad and dangerous. But trust us, for many, many, many millennia, humans were really eager to eat all of that fat and did so and were extraordinarily healthy doing so. You get over it after a while and it's like, oh yeah, I got to eat that cut of meat is not even fatty enough.
Oh, butchers, stop cutting the fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. You would bring that up, and I would remember when I was a preschooler that my grandfather's wife chastised me for eating the fat.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't a health thing. It was just, oh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting.
So
yeah.
that's week 1 of carnivore.
Yeah.
And what you'll experience. Let's move on to week 2.
Week 2. If you're in a position where I was, where I did see the allergies and held on to that, but maybe that scale's not moving, you might be going, this isn't working. Or Eric got instant acid reflux relief and mine is still here. So you might start to have some doubt come week 2. Yeah.
It's possible. Obviously, if you don't get an early gain of some sort, then the doubts creep in. But
Yeah.
this is really the point to start thinking about, where are you in your life? How long did you eat the sad Western diet? How many barrels of grain and seed oils have you poured down your neck over those decades?
Yeah.
The body can't just be rid of it all at once. Dig in a little bit and persist, because the anecdotal evidence, if you just watch all of the carnivores on YouTube, is eventually you break through.
So this is a really good week to watch those videos.
Yep.
And really, we call it binge Barry, Dr. Barry, to build belief, stay in the messaging, and stay in the stories of success. You may have heard about mood regulation and so mental health with carnivore and keto, but you might not be there yet. Your mood and energy might be a little flat. You might not be dipping as much anymore, but you're still could be a little flat. Some glimpses of mental clarity or better mood might be hinted at, but they're not consistent yet.
If you have done carnivore strictly during that first week, you won't have been having any sugar, obviously, but you also won't have been having any artificial sweetener. And so by this point, the sugar cravings are very, very reduced to being basically gone.
Which is really cool, yet I don't think this is a point where we celebrate that a whole lot, because there's still some food noise. And that food noise often in week 2 comes up as realizing how emotionally tied you are to food. You've had a stressful day, and it's more of that emotional craving rather than that physical craving.
Yeah, for me, that would have been, who knows what stress might have come in externally. And I would have gone, even in sort of a paleo mode, I would have gone into the cupboard for the Kind bar. Mm-hmm. And the Kind bar is not kind. It is an unkind non-food item that is presented and masquerading as health food. And it's a candy bar.
Yeah.
But I would have reached for that, and that would have given me that little salty, sweet moment. Mm-hmm. And then I might have reached for another one.
Or it could be a celebration too. It doesn't even have to be stress.
Sure,
it
yeah.
could be, wow, we just finished the yard work. Let's go have some bacon.
A reward. Yeah. Bacon doesn't feel like the reward for work, but you could do that.
Your hunger signals might be also a little confusing. By this time, you might find you're really ravenous at some points of the day or the week, and other times you're kind of full and maybe even feel a little aversion.
Yeah, you're like, I don't think I'm going to have dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Would not be an uncommon thing to happen. But your mind might be thinking, I don't feel well, when really what you're experiencing is satiety.
Yes.
And there's an internal programming that says it's time to eat, but then there's a satiety saying, I don't want to eat. And that dissonance makes you feel like maybe something's wrong, but actually you're just not used to not being hungry.
We want you to eat enough and not be chronically under eating. But if you're not hungry for that meal, it's really okay to skip it.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
really fine. And that's a little counter to some of the programming we've had growing up as well for past decades.
You don't want to go into starvation mode.
Yeah.
Well, if you have any stored body fat and you've gotten past week 1, you're not going to starve anytime soon.
No.
Because your body's got plenty of fuel to burn.
Your mood may be a little flat, but you might notice something, that your energy is starting to normalize. You had maybe that initial adaptation, the healing phase in week 1. And now things are beginning to level out as far as energy. And if you don't notice that your energy is coming back up, at least to baseline, you might want to look at salt, those electrolytes, which salt is one of them, and eating a little bit more fat.
It's always a bit of experimentation with any change in diet, and carnivore is no different.
No.
Because everybody has individual needs. One thing that I noticed in week 2 is that bloating was way reduced. So my gut was my torment forever. And I'm talking about gut pain with IBS. And it so quickly began to relieve. Just in the first week, there was some relief. By the second week, it was like, is this how a gut is supposed to feel?
It's so weird.
Is this like a normal person's feeling of gutness? There's no pain. There's no bloating. There's no having to pop some sort of a pill to try to soothe things. It's quite extraordinary because all of that carb load and the fiber that goes with it is really difficult for an inflamed gut to deal with.
Now, I didn't have the gut issues you did, but week 2 is where I did start to notice how remarkably empty you feel. And again, it's not like you're hungry empty. It's not starving, but that there's just less volume in the gut. And I too was going, is this how it's supposed to be? That's crazy. I never noticed how much volume was held in the gut pre-carnivore. And it feels light and free. And you may notice that your clothing is starting to fit a little bit better. I know I did. I didn't have that huge weight loss again, but my clothes by week 2 were starting to fit a little bit better. You might also notice less water retention in general, less inflammation, less puffiness. You might be able to move your fingers a little bit better, your wrists. There's, again, signs that your inflammation is reducing. Now, here's one thing that might happen in week 2 is you might see some rash flare-ups or some pimples, and that is also normal. Literally, the body is releasing a lot of fluid and a lot of fat, and a lot of the toxins are stored in fat. So you might actually see your skin worsen in week 2 before it gets better, and that's normal.
Yeah, every time I've made a tweak to my carnivore diet, like I went through a phase where I did a very high fat version, my complexion worsened briefly. And I always take that as a good sign.
Yes.
It's like, oh, it's doing something. My body's having to contend with it. Now, if it lasted for months and months and months, I'd be like, well, that was definitely a step backward. But if it's a transitory thing, to me, that's a sign that, oh, the body's doing a healing process, and I'm just happy to see it.
Yes. Now, I have heard people who have chronic acne, like bad acne, that wasn't us. But people who do, the skin can also be the last thing to heal. So if you're in that position, you might not see a lot of change for a while. That's okay. It's normal.
So less bloating, ring starting to fit better. You can actually take it off, take it on. I don't ever want to take it off, but I'd like to if I need to, like when I had this cut exactly underneath that spot.
Oh, yeah. Week 3, you are in it now. You're halfway through that first 30 days, and now you are likely feeling more emotionally stable. I experienced great carnivore zen. You didn't experience that much zen right away. But for me, I totally was noticing energy, brain fog had lifted, and that I just had a better outlook on life. Motivation also starts to return as energy and mental clarity return.
Now, for me, week 3 it felt like I'd locked in. I figured out my meals. Early on, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to have. How do I crack an egg? How do you cook a steak and not have potato with it? And all of that now is becoming more familiar. There's some processes, and we've dialed in the shopping. Yes.
So week 1, you're like, where's my side dish? Week 3, you're going, this is great. There's no side dish.
And if you do the dishes, there's no more dishes.
You're getting things down to a science, really your system's in. So that is really great. However, there is a bit of a danger with this as well. in that you might be getting so comfortable with your regular day-to-day meals that if you've spent time in the kitchen in the past and enjoyed it like I have, you might start looking for those other keto or carnivore recipes that mimic your old types of carby foods. Now's probably not the time to dip your toe into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would never say never do that, because it is nice when you're going to have special occasions to be able to have something special. But during this first 30 days, you don't want to send mixed signal to the whole appetite palate complex.
Yeah.
You wanted to stay right on the track, because anything that's too much like your old trigger foods is likely to trigger you.
It won't probably be that good. Like you remember the pizza you had 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This pizza's not going to be quite the same. So just give it a little time.
There will be continued digestive adaptation. Now, for me, I had a period of what we call euphemistically involuntary cleanses, where suddenly at the most inopportune time, I needed to run to the bathroom and hope that it was close. And this was part of the gut microbiome having to reorder itself. I didn't feel sick and I didn't suffer a whole lot. It's just an inconvenience. For me, that lasted well over 4 weeks.
Yes, yes.
But that's really on the outside of what most people experience.
Yeah, by this time, most people are starting to regulate a little bit. It was so funny, though, because you know, I'm used to when you're having gut issues, which were chronic, you're not a happy person.
No.
And you were happy during this time.
Sure, yeah.
You just had to leave the room every now and then. It was very odd.
It was urgent, but not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Whereas all the old IBS was really uncomfortable. It was like talons gripping into my guts and pulling on them. And that's not what this adaptation healing phase was like.
Some of you might see some actual fat loss now. So if you've got one of those scales that gives you sort of that fat lean mass percentage, you might start to see things shifting a little bit now. I didn't pay attention to that. We did have a scale that did that, but I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if my fat was changing by week 3, but a lot of people are seeing fat loss by this time. You were, I bet, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, as I also mentioned, my energy just kept going and going and going.
Yeah. But there's another thing that might not show up on your scale, and that is if you've been eating the recommended small amount of protein that the dietary guidelines say that you just need a couple of servings this size throughout the week or something, way under eating your protein needs. And as you start carnivore, you're going to just necessarily be getting way more protein than you've probably had ever before. And your body is going to love it.
Yeah.
And one of the things it's going to do is it's going to start adding muscle mass, lean mass. So you could have some fat reduction and some muscle gain at the same time in these early stages. Now, later on, that's very difficult to do. But early on, it is very possible to do. And I believe that's what happened to JJ during those initial months, because I could see her shape changing even though the scale wasn't moving.
It is so crazy how my body is a different shape than it was when I was in high school and lean. It's just mind-blowing to me. I never thought I would have the shape that I have now. And my shape was decent and it was good in high school. But it's different now. My thighs are smaller. It's just incredible. So yeah, I do believe that was probably the case too. And I do think I was really starved of protein all those years because I did not eat much protein at all. I remember going through a phase where soy shakes became a popular protein, and I did that for a while until I ended up with some hormonal issues from that. So I was starved of protein, and I think that's one of the reasons I also had energy is that my body needed the nourishment from both the fat and the protein. So you'll hear some communities talk about priming in the early days of carnivore or reverse dieting. And this is all about getting those protein needs. So week 3, you might be feeling pretty well nourished at this point, and it might be something you've never felt before.
By this time, the afternoon dip is a
Yeah.
thing of the past.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a big deal because I was used to feeling like I was going to pass out around 11:30 a.m. and I was going to need food pretty quick or it was going to be over.
Yes.
But then come 2 or 3 o'clock, just dragging, like unable to contemplate doing anything that required mental acuity or much physical acuity.
Yeah.
And then eventually I would kind of come back from that. But now it's just level.
I used to work, well, I still do work in the evenings, and at 7:30, I was done for the night. Even though I wasn't done, the brain turned off, and I found that it doesn't turn off till about 10, well, hopefully 10 p.m., which leads us to sleep. So for many people, sleep does improve around week 3. And there might also be a sort of paradoxical effect where you might actually be sleeping less, but you feel better. You're not dragging yourself out of bed or dragging yourself through the day. You're getting less sleep and feeling great.
I think this is what happened with me because I notoriously have bad sleep for a long time. And carnivore definitely did not make me sleep more. But I was feeling better on the sleep that I was getting.
Yeah.
I did later make a tweak that improved the duration of my sleep, but it has less to do with carnivore than timing. I just feel like the body, because it's nourished with what it really needs, it's able to do the healing processes during sleep with greater efficiency than when you're eating just garbage.
Yeah. And if you do any sleep tracking, you might notice an increase in your deep sleep or your REM.
Yeah. At the end of week 3, you're going to take another photo, day 21, right? 3 weeks in. And when you compare those photos from day 1 and day 21, there will be obvious differences, especially in your face.
Yeah. You will notice that your face is less puffy. You will notice perhaps that your dark circles are cleared up, that your eyes are brighter.
Yeah, the whites of the eyes are just
very interesting. Yeah. You might notice that the bags are gone. I know you had a lot of issues. Your family tends to have
baggy eyes.
Yeah. And that resolved really quickly. So notice the face. There will be changes.
And you on the full body photo, if you wear the same clothes, you'll notice that they're looser. It's important to notice these and acknowledge them because that's going to give you an accelerator as you move into the final week of your first 30 days.
So week 4, let's go.
Yep. So at this point, you're entering the 4th week. You're confident because now you've gotten the cycles. You've done work weeks. You've done weekends. You've had a lot of different experiences in the demands of life, and you've managed to maintain carnivore. And so you're going to feel like you kind of get it now. You understand how to do it.
You might also have that mood lift by this time. I talked about it coming a little bit earlier, but by now, many people are like, hey, I am feeling great. I don't see ever going back again.
Yep.
Yes, they are starting to notice even reduction in anxiety or reduction in depression if they have a history of that. It is remarkable. And as I mentioned, that brain fog keeps lifting. Your mental clarity gets better and better and better. And you have just fewer ups and downs. Those ups and downs that you used to have due to blood sugar and insulin, they're gone.
There is a risk.
Oh, there is.
Because once you get to this point and you've gotten some benefits, you may end up having the conviction of the recently converted.
Oh, yes.
Which will make you insufferable to everybody around you if you're the type of person who wants to tell everybody what to do.
Yes.
And you're going to start saying, you got to do carnivore, you got to do carnivore, you got to do carnivore. It's a risk.
It is a risk. What do we say? Probably.
Yeah.
Let's not evangelize on it.
I think you need to get past 30 days before you get too carried away with telling others what to do.
Yes. Now let's touch back on those cravings.
They are pretty gone, but this is actually a little bit of a danger zone.
It is. So day to day, the nuts aren't bothering you. They're still there. You've got your emotions figured out pretty well. Things are going good.
Yeah.
Day to day. But it's 30 days in now. And something is going to happen. Some event is going to come up, some holiday, some family gathering. And all of a sudden, you are going to have to confront a different reality than your day to day.
Because those events, say you love to tailgate before a ball game, those are so strongly associated with certain foods that even though you don't have that craving arise just randomly throughout the week, when the event arises, all of that old pattern is going to arise and it's going to bother you. Now, depending on where you're at, you might feel a certain, strength and conviction and say, well, tailgating is brats. I just won't eat the bun. Perfect. But if it's a 2-year-old's birthday party and there's the cake and it's your favorite, you have to be able to say, I'm so delighted to be able to witness this event.
Yeah, you really have to find the other reasons that you're there. And it sounds like it should be easy. Well, of course I'm there for family. I'm there to celebrate the 2-year-old. Yet there's a bit of a loss when the food that you've come to use and celebrate with all the time is not there.
For me, the mourning of certain foods around holidays has been a process, and it's taken longer than 30 days.
Yes.
It's been several holiday seasons, each time reducing the amount of the off-plan eating that I was willing to do because it's lost its hold even during the holidays.
One of the things we say to do is to really strategize with those events. So if you're able to bring your own food, bring your own dish, do so. If you're able to do the brats without the bun, that's fine. Yeah. Do what you can. If you aren't bringing your own dish to pass, come full. Make sure you get your nourishment before you go.
That makes the temptations way less.
Yeah.
Especially if it's been a high-fat, very satiating meal. Again,
I will say this didn't happen to me. For many, by week 4, weight loss is starting to happen. You're seeing some significant weight changes.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me here, but by the end of week 4, I was probably down 10, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
And I was at a high of 206. To give you a frame of reference, if you're starting at 300-400, it's going to be factors of that possibly.
Yeah. So if you're a woman, it might be a little trickier. We tend to release weight a little slower, especially if you're perimenopausal or menopausal. Hypothyroid issues or autoimmune issues can also, create that weight loss journey as being a longer thing. But just keep focused on those non-scale victories. It's okay.
Skin, hair, nails, my nails have always been good, but now they're just crazy. I'm like Wolverine.
Well, for me, by week 4, I think I had a little bit of flare up in week 2. I didn't get diagnosed, but I had these patchy spots on my skin. It was very sensitive, very sensitive. By week 4, it was getting clearer. And I also had some rosacea. And the redness was leaving. I was definitely noticing this by the end of month 1.
You may also have some chronic low-level complaint on your body that is so much incorporated into your regular day that you don't even really notice it anymore. And all of a sudden you'll go, wait a minute, that thing is gone.
I haven't even thought about that.
Haven't even thought about it, and it's gone.
Yeah.
For me, it could have been a sore shoulder. It could have been a lingering IBS pain that was very faint. And so relative to where I had been, it was basically a nothing. But then all of a sudden I'm like, it's actually nothing.
Did you notice any changes in your workouts?
Well, the most obvious was I was finally, for the first time in my life, actually feeding myself for proper recovery from resistance training. And so the post-workout soreness was reduced, but also I was making gains. Whereas before, I never really felt like I was progressing much with it. And all of a sudden, I was feeling like I'm actually putting on some muscle mass here.
And I want to bring inflammation back because that is really where my focus was at the beginning. And so by this point, your inflammation is reduced significantly. You are really noticing a change in your joints and any old injuries you have. And not only that, you look less inflamed. People, between the weight loss or the inflammation loss, people might actually start noticing now and be like, what are you doing? You look really good. Have you lost weight? It's incredible. Yeah.
And then your answer you'll already have prepared is Yep, I'm low carb.
Yes. Wait, not carnivore?
It depends on who the person is and how ready you are to deal with all the questions.
Yeah. As I mentioned in the opening, I'm a life coach, and it is our policy to tell clients not to share their big transformations early on because it's just not set in yet.
Yeah.
It's really easy to have someone else's opinion still influence you. And your success hasn't been set in enough to make any impression on them, really. Even though they say you're looking good, if you're doing something they think is crazy, they're not going to buy in. So it's best at this point to still sort of mostly keep it sort of close to the chest.
This is the time to gather and collect and acknowledge the gains that you've made. And this is where taking that day 30 photo in measurements is so helpful, because then you can compare it to day 21, but compare it to day 1 and really see the change, see the progress you've made, acknowledge that your life is on a completely different trajectory than it was before.
30 days ago.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. The implications for your long-term health and happiness are enormous, because understand that if you're going to walk from the East Coast to the West Coast and you make a 1 degree change when you're still in the Appalachian Mountains of the US, you're going to end up in Alaska versus San Diego.
Wow. That's
so
a good
tiny little alteration in course has a huge downstream impact.
Yeah. I also encourage you to list out any non-scale victories that you have that you can think of, because having that record, again, I wish I had done this. Even now we're like, wait a minute, what were those chronic issues back in the day? And I recommend going like from head to toe, being like, okay, how's my hair? How are my eyes aren't burning out of my head anymore. My rosacea in my cheeks are gone. The patchy skin on my chin is gone. My thyroid medication is better. Like, go through everything top to bottom and get as many victories as you can.
And then you're going to set your next commitment, because this is your first 30 days, not your last. So you're going to be thinking about, all right, I've done this. I'm going to lock in, and now it's 90 days. I know for a fact I'm going to do that. That's 1/4 of a year. If you've made this much progress in 30 days, imagine doing that twice more over and where you're going to be and what footing you're going to have to improve your health and vitality and just expectations for the future.
So much hope and optimism for the future. It's one of the non-scale benefits of this diet that I did not ever see coming, was the hope and optimism for the future. We always say keto carnivore, it's self-correcting. When you do eat off plan or experiment off plan, you tend to feel it and you're like, ugh, I do not want to do that again. And you might again, it's okay. It's self-correcting. So while you have these amazing month 1 30-day wins, there are still likely to be some challenges coming up ahead. If you're not in a community yet, this might be the time when you start looking at some of the carnivore communities and keto communities and deciding where you might like to seek extra support and extra inspiration.
And that's where you can share your day 30 successes, and you will have people who are cheering for you.
Yeah. If you're just contemplating those 30 days and feeling a little bit of worry, nervousness, we are cheering you on. We know that you can do this. We were not special. I didn't even think it was going to work, right? We know that this is something that you can do. And we're coming from a background of Pop-Tarts and Nestle's Quick. So we believe in you and we have your back.
If you've gone through 30 days, or maybe you're in year 3, we'd love to have you leave a comment. Where did we get it right? Where did we get it wrong? Did things happen in a different order, or did we nail it exactly?
I'm sure we nailed it.
Because the truth is, every individual is an individual, and their experience during the first 30 days is going to be highly variable.
Yeah.
We wanted to give you an insight into what it might be like so that you have less trepidation going into it. And if you've watched this video and you're going to undertake it, come back.
Yes.
And leave a comment so that others can see what happened for you, so we can lay out a clearer future for others as they're trying to heal their chronic sickness.
So with that, every day stronger.
Every day more blessed.